Code Amber. It was just past 7 p.m. as I was sat in my car outside of a small diner when I got it, the Amber Alert. My phone began to fiercely vibrate and ring. I was going to look into it, but I was so hungry that I just silenced my phone and figured I would check it out later. Those things generally didn't amount to much anyway, at least not in my experience. On that, I put my phone in my pocket and headed inside. The diner was small, quaint, and rather empty. It really typified what it means to be a hole in the wall. Not sure what else I would expect. I was in a small town several miles off the highway in rural Missouri. The reason I was out this way was that I was taking a cross country road trip to see my brother James, whom I hadn't seen in nearly 3 years. He lived out in California, and I in Virginia. Time spent with him was at quite the premium. I missed him. We had such a good relationship. Always have. But since he moved out to the West Coast for work, I barely get to see him. So this year I decided to change all that. This was the year I would finally pack up the car and head out west to see him. In addition to my brother, it would be nice to see my sister in law, Heather, and my two nephews, Justin and Carson. We rarely got to see Uncle Matt, and I couldn't wait to see how much they had grown. I was sat in a booth at the far side of the diner. My server was an older woman named Shirley. She was very warm and pleasant, kind of like the town I was in. I ordered a burger and some fries and wolfed it all down with a level of ferocity I thought unachievable. It's not what I was starving, just that I wanted to get back on the road as soon as possible, to head to my motel for the evening. After all, I had a day long of driving ahead of me the next day, and I wanted to get settled in for the night as soon as I could. The plan was that I was going to get the bulk of the remaining trek done tomorrow and be at my brother's place the following day. I then paid for my food and headed back to my car. Got in my car, put my keys in the ignition, turned the key, only to be met with nothing. Damn it, I thought. What a terrible time to incur car trouble. I tried several more times, but to no avail. So I got out of the car and immediately noticed a rather large puddle of fluid pooling near my feet. I got down to look under my car and saw that it was indeed leaking some fluid. Not being even the least bit a car guy, I could have had even hazarded a guess as to what it was, but I figured it was the culprit of my car trouble. I reached into my pocket to retrieve my phone call to call AAA, seeing as how it now appeared I was going to need to call a tow truck while simultaneously preparing to hurl a string of expletives at nothing, and no one in particular. To curse my luck and would make a mechanic blush, I was interrupted by a voice from behind me. Car trouble? Said the voice. I turned around to see a pleasant looking, balding, middle aged man, wearing glasses, leaning his head out of the driver's side of a dark blue minivan. Uh, yeah, suppose so, I responded. What do you think is wrong with it? He asked. Couldn't tell you, I said. I got AAA, so I'll be fine. Just a little delayed. Oh, nonsense, he replied. How about this? We'll use our AAA. No sense using one of your toes and something silly like this. Besides, we never use ours. I'll let my wife call them. I looked past him to see a woman sitting next to him in the passenger seat. She has shoulder length, wavy, almost platinum blonde hair, and vibrant green eyes. She gave me a small wave and a smile. Uh, thank you, I stammered out. I was awfully kind, I thought. I was nearly speechless. Just trying to pay it forward. Name's Larry. Larry Williamson, he said, flashing a toothy grin, held his hand out for a handshake. He seemed amiable enough, I thought. Looked over to him and shook his hand, thanking them again and introducing myself. I'm Matt, Matt Woodson. Nice to make your acquaintance. Where you headed, Matt? He asked. California. See my brother and his family in San Dimas. Well, that's a bit away from here now, isn't it? He said, with a chuckle. You have somewhere to stay tonight? I told him that I had a room booked for a motel just outside of Columbia, but that given my current situation, I likely wasn't going to make my reservation. To which he responded with the most generous gesture I had ever been offered. Well, we're headed that way too. We got a room at a hotel not too far from there. You can ride with us. We'll drop you off at your motel, then swing by in the morning after your car's been towed. Pick you up and take you to it. How's that sound? At that, I was completely and utterly floored. Again, didn't know what to say. I just accepted their offer, not saying much in the way of a viable alternative. Great. Well, we're gonna head down the road to the gas station to get some gas. I'll call AAA from the gas station. Tell them that your car is here. Why don't you head back inside the diner and stay warm? Be back in a jiffy. Thanked them again before they headed off, and I went back inside the diner. Back so soon? Shirley joked upon seeing me re-enter. Car trouble, I responded before some people in the diner suddenly got worried looks in their faces. Don't know what all that was about. Went up to the lunch counter and ordered a cup of coffee. I sat there sipping my coffee, thinking about how I was not going to explain this to my brother when I heard the honking of a car horn. I turned to see Larry hanging out of the driver's side window waving at me. I quickly downed my coffee and left a couple of bucks on the counter before heading off. I got in the back seat of the minivan, where I was sat next to two kids. A boy who looked like to be about 7, who was playing some type of handheld video game system. He had short brown hair and an overall jovial demeanor. And a girl I would have guessed was about 5, with light blonde hair, who looked glum and somewhat uncomfortable. I just figured that she wasn't too keen on being cooped up with her family for such a long trip. Everybody buckle up, Larry said, and off we went. Matt, this is my wife Mandy, our 2 kids, Jacob and Melissa. It's a pleasure to meet you all, I said. Did you call AAA? I asked. Oh yeah, Mandy did his gas station. Said that due to worker shortages, you won't be able to get someone out to pick up your car until at least tomorrow morning. The gas to run 8:30, the earliest. Figures, I thought. That would be my luck. But I won't worry too much about it. These things have a way of working themselves out. Very positive. So you say you're on your way out to California to see your family. Where are you coming from? He asked. Virginia, I responded. Oh, nice. Never been out that way before, Mandy replied. It's pretty nice. Can't really complain. Where are y'all from? Where are you headed? We're from Florida, just outside of Pensacola. We're on our way up to Montana for Mandy's niece's wedding. Sounds lovely, I thought. So, what is it that you do for work, Matt? Mandy asked. I work in web development. I make websites for all sorts of companies, I told her. Sounds fascinating. Well, not really, I responded. But it keeps the bills paid, which is all that matters, I guess. Nonsense, Larry said. I love what I do. I've been employed for years. Not worked a day in my life. That old adage, I thought. Did you have to go to school for that? Mandy inquired. Yeah, got my bachelor's degree in computer science from Ohio University. Oh, the Buckeyes! No, I said with a slight chuckle. We're the Bobcats, a much smaller school. We play in the MAC. After that, the conversation died down. I went on looking out the windows, just enjoying the Missouri countryside for a bit. It was a nice, calm evening, with only a few clouds overhead. There wasn't anything overly exciting to see, but there were a lot of farms and arboreous areas. It's actually a rather beautiful part of the country if you're into that sort of thing. Dag nabbit, Larry blurted out of nowhere. Looks like the oil pressure is low. That's not good, I thought. If you need to pull off to the road to pick up some oil, I could pay, I offered. It's the least I could do. No, that's okay. I think we'll be all right. Maybe old, but she'll make it, he said reassuringly. We have too many cars, Melissa said, speaking for the first time. Yeah, that's our little environmentalist right there, Larry interrupted. She thinks a family of 4 having 3 cars is too many. Admittedly, our carbon footprint could be a little smaller, he said with a small laugh. We have 7 cars, Daddy, she shouted. People give us lots of cars. That's right, sweetie. Daddy's company lends Daddy lots of cars, but that's enough about our cars. How about you kids tell Mr. Woodson about your favorite animals? He suggested. My favorites are tamarins, Melissa said, because they're so cute and little monkeys. That they are, I concurred. And at home we have 3 pet dogs, she continued. Oh yeah? What are their names? Larry, Curly, and Mo. They're all stations, she said. That's funny, I said, although I found it rather strange that a pet would have the same name as one of its owners. I like dinosaurs, Jacob exclaimed. Oh, yeah? What's your favorite dinosaur? I asked. Plesiosaurus, he excitedly replied. Why is that? Because it has please in its name. That's a polite thing to say, so it's probably a really nice dinosaur. I love kid logic. Doesn't make any sense, but hey, if it makes sense to him, I guess. It wasn't long after our exchange about dinosaurs that we pulled into a dimly lit, rather seedy looking parking lot. All right, Matt, here's your stop. We'll be back around 10 a.m. to pick you up. Then I exited the minivan, but not before asking them if they wanted gas money for going out of their way to help me. Mandy said that it wouldn't be necessary, a sentiment that was echoed by Larry, who insisted that they were just doing what was right, and to just get a good night's sleep. With that, we parted ways for the evening. I entered the motel's front office, checked in, got my key, requested a 9 a.m. wake up call, went to my room. It wasn't much to speak of, but it was shelter. Took a quick shower and headed to bed. Next morning began with the bedside phone ringing at 9 a.m. The lady from the front office gave me my wake up call. I thanked her and rolled out of bed, brushed my teeth, got dressed, and headed down to check out of my room. Paid the $65 and went to go wait in the parking lot for the Williamsons. After about 40 minutes, I had a worrying thought. What if he had forgotten about me? What if I end up stranded here? Now? No, couldn't be. Williamsons were nice people. They wouldn't go through all this trouble just to leave me here, would they? My worries subsided when I heard the familiar honk of a car horn and looked up to see Larry, cheery as ever, wave me over to the van. I walked over and greeted him. Morning, Larry. Morning, Matt. How'd you sleep last night? Oh, just fine. I think you got a full 8 hours. Well, that's good. Climb on in. We gotta get you to your car. AAA called Manny around 8:10 this morning. Said your car is at Gus's Auto Repair, just outside of St. Louis. Great, thank you, I said. No, I got in the van and we were off. The kids stayed mostly occupied, Jacob with his game and Melissa looking out the window, and sometimes singing softly to herself. After about 5 minutes, we made it back to the highway, but instead of heading east, Larry took the ramp to go west. I guess he forgot he had an extra passenger on board. Hey, Larry, that's the wrong way. St. Louis is east of here, I pointed out. Oh, that's right. Well, don't worry, I'll find a place to turn around. We'll get headed back east, he said, realizing his mistake. Sorry about that. No problem, I said. This has been such a big help and may well have saved me my vacation. Let me know if there's ever anything I can do to make it up to you guys. Oh, that won't be necessary. We're just trying to do the neighborly thing, Larry said. Well, thank you. There really aren't too many people out there in the world who go to such great lengths to save someone else's vacation. And hey, you guys ever find yourself in Virginia around the Roanoke area, look me up because I owe you guys a drink. It's no problem at all, Randy said. Yeah, besides, we all need a vacation once in a while. And boy, I tell you, I've needed this time off. Even though I love my job, it's nice to be out of the office, Larry added. Oh, I almost forgot to ask. What is that you do for work, Larry? I work in television production. Have for quite some time now. Sounds interesting. How'd you come about that career? Well, you see, Matt, growing up, my parents weren't around much. Both had busy lives with multiple jobs. My alcoholic father spent a pretty significant portion of his life wasting away at the bar. I'm almost surprised they didn't hold his funeral service there. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, I replied. Oh, well, it's nothing. It was more like I grew up with the TV. Didn't have much in the way of parental figures, but I could see them portrayed on TV. Didn't have many real friends either, so the characters on TV were like my friends. So, anyway, just fell in love with the medium. To this day, I still love some of them shows when I grew up in the 70s. There was definitely some good stuff back then. What were some of your favorites? I asked. I really like stuff like Good Times, The Brady Bunch. My all-time favorite was the Mary Tyler Moore Show. A pretty great opening theme song. I just thought she was terrific. Pretty too. Yeah, Jacob said without looking at his game. Daddy really liked Mary Tyler Moore. That's why he named me Tyler. Tyler, I thought your name was Jacob, I replied. His name is Jacob, Larry calmly interjected. You know how kids are, always making stuff up. That Jacob looked a mixture of sad and confused. It's odd, I thought. Then came a familiar buzzing from my pocket. It was my phone. I hadn't so much as looked at it since I was at the diner yesterday. I'd nearly forgotten about it, all in the recent commotion. I pulled the phone out of my pocket and saw that there was an update to the Amber Alert from the previous day. That was new, I thought. It's usually how it goes. Clicked on the alert to look into further details. Apparently, the Amber Alert was for an entire family that were believed to have been abducted and was potentially in grave danger. Yikes, I thought. It's not good. I then looked into the update. The update said that the Crawford County Sheriff's Department had recovered the bodies of 4 individuals in a drainage ditch, believed to be the family in question. Furthermore, that they were believed to be the most recent victims in a string of abductions and murders that had been happening across Missouri, Tennessee, and Kentucky. It was stated that the alleged assailants are suspected of having abducted by people by sabotaging their vehicles, thus immobilizing their victim, then abducting, murdering, and assuming the identity of their victims, as well as robbing them of their money and other valuables, and escaping the victims' cars once it was repaired. Sounded pretty awful, I thought. I was going to bring it up to Larry, but as I kept scrolling, something grabbed my attention that left me in a state of shock. I read that the names of the family members that were believed to be abducted were Larry and Mandy Williamson, their 2 kids, Jacob and Melissa Williamson. I couldn't believe it. I was riding with the people that the Amber Alert was out for. Did they even know there was an alert out for them? Furthermore, whose bodies were recovered in Crawford County? The way I figured I had some good news for the police. The Williams family was safe and sound, and all must have some big misunderstanding. That was until I saw something that was just about knocked the wind out of me. The pictures that accompanied the missing persons report on the Williamsons family did not remotely resemble the people I was riding with. It was reported that they were last seen hitching right outside of a shopping center, a couple driving an SUV after their blue minivan was reported to have had car trouble. Who was I with? They only take one. Take in that fresh air, girl. Damn, it feels great to be back. Everything looks smaller, though. Yeah, because you were like 3 feet tall last time you were here, you walnut. Buddy Bud Jake looked at Gwen with a smile. The classic platonic boy girl relationship where no sexual tension existed. Mostly. Well, sorry I didn't come out of the womb at a lengthy 5'9". Gwen playfully threw her Circle K cup at him. She knew it was empty, but Bud didn't. What the? Oh, real nice. You're lucky that it was empty. Don't go worrying. I'll throw it out, Litterbug. Bud made an exaggerated motion of throwing the coffee cup out, all while maintaining eye contact with Gwen. Okay. Awkward. And yes, I have been an Amazon since birth, thank you. Good thing you finally grew into your shrimpy grade school body, so you don't have to look up to me anymore. Gwen smiled. Bud and Gwen had been best friends for their entire conscious life. They grew up together. Their families lived on the same street. They even played the same sports. Gwen made the Little League baseball team, and Bud became the first male cheerleader of their high school. You could see the absolute fireworks between the two when they cheered together. I'll always look up to you, Gwenny, Bud said with a corny wink. Glad I did get taller than you are, though. That was a close one. Gwen cracked a closed mouth, somewhat embarrassed smile as she looked at the ground. She missed Bud amazingly, but she would never admit that to him. The reason that she could think of maybe a girl thing. Maybe she just wanted to keep her emotions to herself. Maybe she never wanted to ruin anything by even remotely letting Bud know how much she cared about him. We're wasting precious drinking time, Gwen said, straightening up and pushing her feelings down. Come on then, Mr. Man. Let's blow this shit out like we were kids again. Gwen looks over the lake park, cups her hands over her mouth and yells, Shaky Lakes! A little woo followed as she turned back to Bud with an ear-to-ear grin. Bud was delighted. Let's get this party started, Bud said with another wink. This one wasn't corny. More ominous, if you had to categorize it. Shaky Lakes, Michigan. Some towns have an amusement park. Some towns have a civic center with a community pool. Some towns have the world's largest thermometer. Lake Hill, Michigan had the Shaky Lake State Park. Saying you're going to Shaky Lakes meant you were going to the smallest campground in America. The series of lakes are many, but pretty small. Campground only had about 50 lots, and just a handful more for those who wanted to camp for real, like with a tent. Even in the early and mid 90s, most people in the country wanted to feel like they were camping, but wanted the modern conveniences of home. Anyway, Bud and Gwen had not been here many years and decided to get together after they graduated college. You were right about how small this place looks, Gwen said. It looked so massive when we were kids. The beach is like a sandbox. Bud laughed a bit. Don't remember it this dirty either. Felt like we were cleaner when we were young. Bud nodded. We didn't notice if it was clean or not. We just wanted to race to the beach, put our towels down, and start whipping water toys around. See what you mean, though. It does kind of look rough around here. The volleyball nets are down, the parking lot looks like a bomb exploded. The arcade used to be right here, but I don't see it. Hopefully they just moved it. I'll plug this bad boy in and you start putting out those fancy dancing little lights on the awning. Please tell me you didn't forget to grab the AstroTurf my parents left for us to use. Gwen said with that pleading, don't let me look down in her eyes. Bud jumped into the RV, making obvious noises like he's looking around. This one? He said, muffled, and threw the roll out of the door. Gwen let the breath go, relieved that he didn't forget. Yes, that one, she said. Bud came barreling out of the door, down the tiny steps, and onto the ground in front of Gwen and the AstroTurf. You know never to doubt me, he said, smiling. I told you I would be the first guy in the cheerleading squad, didn't I? You did, team captain, you did, Gwen said. Thank God you did. No one else could have handled me like that. There followed a long silence. They both spoke at the same time. Well, Bud said, cut off by. You know what? Gwen interrupted. This happened once or twice more before they finally just laughed and shrugged everything off. Let me plug this thing in, Bud said. Bud and Gwen were the same age. The exact same age, save for a 10-minute advantage enjoyed by Gwen. She never let Buddy forget either. She knew it bothered him, that his best friend was older. In a fun way. Both families actually met in the hospital. They never knew each other before. Both sets of parents lived just a few houses down, but had no reason to interact until baby girl and baby boy were crying in the hospital nursery. Every family in the small town of Lake Hill visited the Shaky Lakes Park every summer at some point. Even the winter too, if they enjoyed ice fishing. Bud and Gwen looked forward to these camping trips all school year. They planned out what they would do first when they got there. They passed notes in school about how they were going to make the best sandcastle. They couldn't wait to get one more of those Bahama Mama slushes from the shack. The shack was a little shop where you can get candy, fried food, and the famous slushies. The arcade was there too. So many hours playing pinball and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stand-up arcade. And then they just didn't go anymore. When did we stop going here every summer? Bud asked. I feel like we were pretty young when we stopped coming. Isn't it weird our parents took us like 30 minutes into the city to roller skate or see a movie? Our Reds never really explained that either, Gwen said. The only thing I remember is something about the woods. Maybe the state closed the park due to environmental concerns. I don't know. Felt like they didn't have a good answer. As kids, you roll with whatever your parents are doing. One day you're packing up, getting ready for the big weekend at the park. The next, you never missed it and moved on to the next family adventure. I just recently thought about that, Bud said. I looked it up for the first time online and saw that it had been open and never closed like our parents said. Gwen shook her head with an approving nod. Me too. Guess we are still linked after all, young buddy Bud, she jokingly blurted out. Very funny. I'll never get old. Bud smiled, looking at Gwen with a slight sarcastic smile. You might be older, but you'll never be cooler. With that, Bud pulled out a roll of quarters from his pocket. Let's find that arcade. This time we can pour some vodka into those Bahama Mamas. Gwen giggled. What? Bud asked. She disappeared into the truck that towed the modestly sized RV his parents let them borrow. Coming out with her hands slightly behind her back, she slowly revealed an unmarked mason jar. I got something stronger than vodka. Bud was delighted. Wow, the Peterson's famous moonshine. You ready for this trip, eh? I didn't know Gwen's family that well. They were together a lot while they were kids, but usually it was Gwen coming over, playing outside in the street until the lights came on. He didn't know that Peterson wasn't even her real last name. Gwen and Buddy took a pull from the moonshine. No chaser. Holy hell, that's why it's stronger than I thought, Bud said. It'll be better than those slushies, big guy, Gwen teased. Let's find the shack. I think I can see it from here. He locked the RV and turned on the garden lanterns. Looks amazing, Bud said. Not as amazing as Gwen, he thought. Quarters ready, moonshine secured in Gwen's purse, they were headed to the shack. Just like when we were kids, Gwen said. Remember when you fell down this trail as we were running to be the first ones to get to the arcade? Ugh, Bud moaned. Another thing you won't let me live down. I was just excited to beat your ass at NBA Jam for the 100th time. Charles Barkley and Dan Maggero always blew you away. Whatever, I didn't care about winning. I just wanted to see those little guys flat on the court. Sure, Gwen said. You were so tired of hearing, he's on fire, as CMU alumni Maggero drained his third three-pointer in a row. Central represented Bud joked as he pointed towards the sky like little David Ortiz after smashing a home run. I know he went to Central, dummy, Gwen laughed. We saw him speak at the field house, remember? The two friends indeed attended the same college. Their freshman year, they were inseparable. Going to college is stressful and psychologically rough for many young people. Having someone you know there is a blessing, and they took advantage of it. As the next few years developed, they saw the two young friends drift quietly apart. They still texted and met up here and there, but the closeness they felt had eroded. The truth was, Bud remembered every moment with her. He didn't think she remembered him. It made him warm. Of course, it was a blast. Seeing a real-life NBA player in the flesh was exciting, especially one that started out right where we were. Bud changed subjects. College was great, but it reminded him when their friendship changed. Let's get those slushies. One more sip of that fire water before we do, he said, looking at Gwen. She did a little shake, anticipating the hot Everclear that would fill her insides. The shack was empty. Not closed, but it looked like it. All they saw were a handful of chip bags hung on the rack, a couple of fryer baskets that looked like they were last used 20 years ago, and some kid toys that molded a long time ago. Hello? Bud said. Any chance we could get a couple slushies? A weary older woman appeared out of nowhere behind the window that Bud and Gwen stood. Both took a shudder step backward. How can I help you two? She said, but looked at his friend. Can we get... What happened here? Are you open? Sorry. Yes, of course. Just wasn't expecting anyone this early is all. You want some slushies, kids? The lady looked odd, but nice. Can we get Bahama Mamas, miss? As Bud looked at Gwen, he wanted to leave. But before he could say anything, he turned back and saw two pristine-looking dark slushies waiting in front of him. Oh, yes. Thank you. What do I owe you? No charge, she said. Just happy to have people here. Not weird at all, they thought sarcastically. They both grabbed their drinks and cautiously walked to the beach. Well, cheers, right? Gwen said, holding back nervous laughter. Both busted out laughing and poured a generous amount of alcohol into their drinks. That was freaking strange, Bud said. Then she said she's just not used to serving this early. Probably not young people. This place looks like no one really uses the camp anymore. There's only 5 campers coming in? Buddy didn't remember seeing anyone else camping there. The weather was great. Mid-June, this would be the first real nice weekend of the year. The woods are alive. Bud remembered his mom saying this to him. He was beginning to understand. It's too dangerous to go there anymore. Don't you like going to the nice arcade in the city? Look, I have an entire row of quarters for you and your friend to play with. Hello, urged to Bud. Ready to play? Buddy snapped back to reality. Yeah, let's find those games, he said, trying to feign excitement. He walked next door to the old arcade room. They found a door that was boarded up. Gwen went back to the shack window to ask where the other games had moved. The window was shut and no one was answering. Where did she go? She said. She couldn't have gone anywhere. We would have seen her. Bud was starting to become paranoid. Gwen is 14 years old. She is sitting at family dinner. Her mom and stepdad sit on either side, quietly enjoying a boring meal of chicken cordon bleu. Gwen drops her fork. Why don't we go to the park anymore? Both parents stop, looking at each other. What park? Gwen's mom says. Gwen explodes, which she never did. Shaky Lake Park. That's fucking what? Her stepdad calmly sends her to her room and Gwen storms off, slamming the door. It's a small town. I don't think there are too many kids here anymore. It won't be exactly what we remember almost 15 years ago. Where did Flash and Billy go? Bud asked with dead eyes. Gwen froze. Who? Buddy took a long drink, not looking at her. Billy and Flash, the twins we grew up with. I barely remember, but they disappeared when we were kids, and we somehow never went back to this place. Gwen was confused, and the hooch-drenched slush wasn't helping. She grabbed Bud's arms without thinking about it. Bud looked at her hand, then up at her. She reflexively moved her hand, flustered and brushing her hair back out of habit. Bud was confused too. Why did he have such an affinity for her right now? 9-year-old Buddy. Where did my friends go? They were cool. They were born together, right? Bud's dad sadly looked at him. He had enough of those last few years. Single father raising 2 kids. Rare for any time. I won't tell you again, Bud. They moved. Buddy seemed to be okay with this explanation, which he'd already heard. Our parents briefly mentioned that something was here, like maybe in the woods or something. Should we go out there, or Bud was cut off immediately? Heck no, sir. And was back in full reality. Hey, let's go back to the RV, enjoy those lights. We put some music on and talk about old times. Can we please enjoy this weekend? Bud thought for a second, then happily complied. Yeah, you're right, G. Time to relax. Both were getting eaten up from the inside, but decided to shrug it off and enjoy their time together. They were on vacation, after all. That night, Buddy had a terrible vision of humans, or at least things that looked like humans, walking around the Shaky Lake campground. He traveled in packs of 2s. They were dressed in regular clothes, but had the smell of wild animals. Bud tried to wake Gwen up, but saw nothing but an empty bed where he thought she was sleeping. He searched an endless cavern of darkness. The things were surrounding his camper now. He panicked, screaming for Gwen. He ran full speed down the hallway looking for Buddy, what the fuck? Gwen dropped the breakfast supplies she was holding all over the ground. Broken eggs, raw bacon, and pancake mix was now feeding the earth. Buddy sat up, drenched in sweat. What the fuck? Grandma, are you okay? What happened to you? Where were you? Gwen got Bud calmed down and convinced him to go to the showers not too far from their camper. Buddy returned, clean and ready to be caffeinated. I saw something last night. These landwalkers were coming towards our RV. I don't know why I called them that. It just sounds appropriate. They looked like humans, but not. They walked like humans, but I knew there was nothing inside. There were dozens. They were all paired like a Psycho Gemini team. They saw me but wanted you. I tried to find you. You weren't there. Where'd you go? Bud, Gwen said. You passed out. She must have gone to sleep at about the same time. It was a dream, dude. Nothing more. Bud took this in. No, Bud said, but stopped. Guess that Bahama Mama kicked the crap out of me. Yeah, you were always a Nancy when it came to drinking, Gwen said as she started cleaning up the dead breakfast of 2021. She looked at Bud, locking eyes. She never noticed how similar his honey brown eyes were to his. Gwen was playing outside her home as a little girl, maybe 5. She saw her mom speaking to someone out of view. Gwen knew her dad wasn't home, so it was strange that her mom would be talking with anyone while she was playing. You have to go. You have to go now, is all Gwen remembered. I won't let that happen. Not to our kids. Gwen cleaned up the vagrant egg and bacon remnants and made sure her best friend's campsite was pristine. I'll make sure we still have a good breakfast, Bud. Sorry, I just got freaked. But he was happy to see his best friend alive and still with him. No, no problem at all, G. I'll help clean. Bud and Gwen enjoyed the second night with much less incident. The lights looked great. They took a dip into the lake. They made burgers and popcorn. It was a camper's dream. Gwen jumped from the vibrations in her back pocket. Oh, my mom's calling. That's so crazy. I didn't remember I had this thing. Bud agreed. Me too. Glad to leave the thing alone for a while. I'll call her back. If there's anything important, she can text me. The phone vibrated again. The contact's name was just said Ma. Sorry, Bud. I'll just text her real quick. Call her. It's okay, she said. No, I don't want to talk to anyone but you right now. If I talk to her, I'll be taken out of my vacation vibe. She made a kissy face at Bud and walked a few feet away to text her mom that she was okay, but please don't bother her this weekend. She discovered her text was already waiting for her. She put her password in to unlock her phone. Get out of there, is what her mom sent her, followed by multiple messages explaining the same. What the hell? Gwen called her mom. One full ring didn't finish before she picked up. Gwen, you have to leave. You can't be around Buddy. I'm sorry, I thought it would be okay. I thought they wouldn't find you after we left that campground forever. Gwen tried to slow her mom down. Mom, what are you talking about? It's no use. She wouldn't stop until the phones were cut off. Gwen, you have to leave. Leave the RV, leave your things. Just get into the car and take... Repeat. Gwen, you have to leave. Leave the RV, leave your things. Just get into the car and leave as fast as you can. Gwen, they only take one. They only take... Phone died. Gwen tried to get her mom back. Mom, what the... Hello? Where are you? Bud was enjoying himself by the fire. His mood changed immediately when he saw the expression on Gwen's face coming back at him. Whoa, what happened? Is everything okay? My mom was hysterical. Said we had to leave. Something about taking someone. I don't know. I'm all turned around. And the phone cut out. What do you mean taking someone? Did you say anything else? I just told you exactly what happened. No, she didn't say anything else. She just hung up or got cut off. Sorry, Bud. I don't mean to tell you. This is freaking me out. Bud and Gwen got quiet. Bud's head was spinning. The air was getting cold. The woods were rustling. Bud couldn't stop thinking about his nightmare. The landwalkers walking 2 by 2. They only take one. How did Bud know this? He didn't hear Gwen's mom say that. Gwen, we have to go. Now. Gwen hesitated. Bud grabbed her arm so quickly she barely had time to think. Ow, Bud, what the hell got into Bud trushed her. Gwen, quiet. Something bad is happening. I don't think we have time. What are you talking about? Bud, it was just a weird call from my mom. She must be having a long night and just missed me, that's all. Bud successfully got Gwen to the trunk. He unhooked the RV and didn't bother packing anything up. He was ready to speed through a wildfire to get out of there. Gwen, why did we stop coming here? Bud asked. You know why. My parents said it was something about the woods, the grounds not being safe. We never questioned it. For all we knew, there was a murder here or something, and they just didn't trust this place anymore. Bud paused. They lied. They all lied. I love you more than anything, Gwenny. Gwen blushed lightly. I love you too, Bud. I always have. You know that. But I loved you like a sister. I never had a sister. There are things out here, Gwen. I've seen them in my dreams. They take people. Special types of people. Gwen looked at him like he'd lost the last of his mind. Bud, just get us out of here. Bud looked at the ignition. We were born on the same day. You don't have a dad and I don't have a mom. They knew they had to keep us away from this place. They were too late. Even those years ago. This place has been waiting for us. They only take one. They take one of the pair to cause lifelong suffering. Bud's driver's side window shattered. Gwen screamed. She buried her head in her hands. Try hard as she could muffle out the sound, she could still hear the gnawing and gnashing of bone, muscle, and sinew being shredded by hungry things. After the air was still, she looked. No trace of Bud. No trace of her long lost, never known twin brother. Dedicated. Times are tough. I need to leave this place and start somewhere new. People are beginning to look in my direction, and I can't have that. I need to get out before they start putting the dots together. Police were at my door today, asking questions. I think they believe me, but you can never be too sure. This place, my home, my safety, holds the best and the worst memories of my life. How do I leave when it means I have to leave her? It all began in the summer of last year. There was a heavy heat that hung in the air, making it hard to focus on anything other than finding some needed shade. That day, the day I will never forget. The day I first saw Isabel. The first time my life became worth living. My mind that was once fogged was now clear. It began as any normal day. A quiet stroll down the street to gather a few bits for dinner. I'd taken shelter from the heat in a nice little cafe. It was busy as the shoppers came to escape the humidity. I ordered my drink and found what seemed to be the only free table left, tucked in the farthest corner, a place where no one would disturb me. How perfect, I thought to myself. I felt the stale heat and a ring as the bell rang, announcing someone had entered the cafe. I was focused on my drink, wiping up the drips as it slid slowly down the glass. It was then that I first heard her speak. Can I get an ice water, please? Those simple words were enough to make me take notice. She was beautiful. More than that, she was the most perfect person I had ever laid eyes on. Her curly black hair braided with an elegant flower at the end, her womanly curves calling to me. I had a sudden urge to run to her, but I held myself back and watched her from a distance. For one split second, she looked in my direction and she saw me. Actually, saw me. She smiled and I knew instantly she felt as I do. I knew she needed me in her life as much as I needed her. To my luck, she came sauntering over, ice cold water in hand, and asked if she could share my table. I knew she could have found a seat somewhere else if she wanted to, but she obviously was drawn to me as I her. Few words were spoken before the silence grew between us. After we spoke, I regretted my words, wishing I could replace them with others that were more intelligent, more humorous, but I found myself momentarily speechless in her presence. I knew that words didn't really need to be spoken. When she looked into my eyes, we knew how we both felt. I don't know how long passed as I sat there staring at her, taking her in, learning every detail of her face. After she took the last few sips of her drink, she got up to leave, and I felt a sudden pull in my heart. The short time we had together was not enough for one day. I needed more, much more. As she opened the door and the bell announced her departure, I pictured our future together. I knew what I needed to do. I watched in the window as she walked up the street, biding my time so no one would notice me follow. I don't know how long we walked for. I was fascinated by the way she moved. I was completely captivated by her. She stopped to look in shop windows, and my heart skipped a little as I hide and wait. Finally came to a nice little bungalow with a pretty garden. She would love our new garden, I thought to myself. It fit for her safety. It's a very old house, no security that I could see. Couldn't leave her here unprotected. Anyone could hurt her. I found a safe spot where I wouldn't be seen, and I settled in patiently until darkness hid my true intentions. I wasn't prepared for any of my plans as of yet, but I had no choice. I made it her in my life now. I couldn't live another day without her. I took 1 hour, one excruciating hour away from her. I needed my car and a few essentials for my plan to work. Each second that passed was too much to handle. It was way too easy getting into her house. The air was still heavy, so she had cracked her bedroom window open to relieve the heat as she slept. From what I had seen as I waited, she did not live alone. I'm so thankful for the open bedroom window. This way I didn't need to risk being seen by anyone else. She was so thoughtful to leave it open for me. She must have known I was coming to her. I watched her for hours as she slept, so relaxed and perfect. I felt so bad about having to wake my sleeping beauty, but it was going to be bright soon. I needed to get to work and getting her to our home together. I never loved my job that much, but I could keep my own hours, and being a nurse, I had my drug kit in the car. So I guess it had its advantages. As I drew up the sedative, she began to shift in her sleep. One little pinch, my love, and then we're going home. I knew she would. She awoke to the sound of my voice. She struggled, but I knew she didn't mean to. I just surprised her. Everything after that happened so quickly. I got her home in no time at all. She was light to carry, and the darkness of the night made sure of our privacy. Set up her room, and she slept peacefully on the couch. The attic room was perfect for her. The window was small, so she couldn't hurt herself trying to get out, unlocking the door leading up to the attic. I stood back and admired the space I created for her. She will love this, I thought to myself. Gently, I carried her up to her bed to let her sleep off the drugs. I placed a chair next to her and got lost in my own thoughts as I watched her sleep. I spent the next while talking to her how I truly feel, exposing myself to her, deep down knowing she would truly understand. When I'm with others, I'm observant. I willingly consume all of my beautiful surroundings. Every little detail is so precious to me, but when I am with you, I'm surrounded by dark emptiness as I am consuming every last word you breathe. I know that I will not be able to think of anything other than you each remaining second of the day. I will waste away the lonely moments with you in my heart. When you breathe my soul. When she woke, she was distraught. I don't know why. She could see it was just me. She was so frightened. As much as I tried to comfort her, it only seemed to make things worse. 4 days passed, and every day is the same. Isabel wakes up, cries, refuses to eat, and becomes so hysterical that I need to sedate her. I hate doing that, but I want her to be happy and relaxed. She just needed time. Time to see that I love her more than anyone else could ever love her. And we were made for each other. On the 5th evening, she was worse than she had been so far. She was screaming, crying, and pleading with me. Quickly, I prepared the sedatives and gave them to her, more aggressively than I meant to. I needed her to stop screaming. I couldn't take it anymore. Why was she acting like this? I lay down beside her, stroking her hair and whispering in her hair while she drifted off into a peaceful dream of me. Must have drifted off too at some point and woke up to the ice-cold touch of something beside me. Kept my eyes closed for another minute, hoping that I was wrong, hoping that it wasn't my Isabel that I could feel. Listening for any noise, but there was none. I would do anything to hear a noise from her. Even a scream right now would make me happy. I slowly opened my eyes, still darkness in the room, but there was a beam of light coming from somewhere. The light shone directly onto her face, that angelic face that I craved so much, not covered in what appeared to be vomit. She wasn't breathing. No matter what I did, I could not wake her. My heart broke when I realized my mistake. I had got my dosage wrong in my haste to calm her. I gave her too much of the sedatives. My Isabel was no longer her perfect self, but only a shell of my love. I put her in a pretty yellow dress that I had bought while she slept. I placed her back in her bed in the room she loved so much. I knew there was no place she would rather be. It pained me to do this, but at least I know she will always be safe. Her crypt, where I will always have her with me. Built a wall shutting off the attic. Sometimes I swear I can still hear her asking for an ice water, but I know it's just my heart willing her to still be up in the room, waiting for me. My heart will be crying out for yours for all eternity. With every beat of my pounding heart, this feeling grows deeper within me. I dream of you, your face portrayed in my most vivid dreams. Dreams I will forever long to be a reality. I desire sleep, knowing you will be there to guide me through the long night ahead. Your smile that day in the cafe crumbled down the archway of my heart. That undernourished heart will forever palpitate your name. My inner turmoil, infatuated with you. The residue of a picturesque happiness can only be recalled when you were in my arms. You isolated and destroyed and premeditated fears I have previously encountered. Unfortunately, it's time for me to move on. With the police looking my way, I can no longer stay here. I will never forget my Isabel. She will forever resonate in my memories, my new beginnings. Will be trained with tarnished thoughts. She will always be in my world, my everything. But if nothing else, she has taught me to be more careful next time. As I drive out of this town, away from my love, I see her face everywhere. Her parents put up a lot of missing child posters.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, this sort of content, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and leave a comment below. There will be a link to this story in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.